We're gonna head into some more sections here in the book, guys. I'm gonna head into clothing here right now. So I'm on page 123, is where I'm at. As soon as you get there, I want you to have a quick look at this young fellow. Apparently, and I kind of looked into this, apparently he is applying Roundup. His name is Caesar. And he is applying Roundup, and that is pre-emerge on corn. Ready? We were actually texting with Caesar the other day.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're a Bremer.
Oh.
Anyway, so yeah, that's what they're doing. Okay, so what do you think? Nothing wrong with this picture?
Not at all.
All righty?
Looks like the neighbors.
Yeah. The one picture that I can't show you that we did see the other day, they had about 6 guys lined up and they had them all in suits and showing them the proper way to do this thing. The reason Caesar got to spray, he's the guy that could count. Okay? The other guys that were there couldn't count. So Caesar was the spray man because he could count. All righty, this one here. This one hit the front page of the Ontario Farmer close on 2 years ago now. What do you see as a problem? Treated seed, no gloves, no respirator, anything like that, okay? You see that as a problem, right? All right, so with that said, how many of you guys wear gloves and respirators when you load treated seed in the drill? Do this, Steve, no, Steve? Yeah, okay. All righty, so again, you can recognize the problems. The next trick is doing something about it. So with that, back into the book here for a few minutes, guys. We're going to talk, or stay close to it for a few minutes. Regarding the clothing, and you guys are familiar with all this stuff. So, on page 123, bottom of the page, 4 basic items of clothing. There they are, there for you. The coveralls, the water repellent hat, the gloves, and the boots. Alrighty, so there they are, bottom of the page. Depending on what you're doing, you can get into situations where you need extra protection. So I'm right at the top of 124, those arrowheads there. Respirator, water repellent suit, chemical resistant goggle or apron, goggles, and a face shield. All right, again, depending on what you're doing. Okay, back to the labels, read the labels, see what equipment is necessary when handling those different products. Down the bottom of the page, consider the job. So go to the top of 125. Couple things here. Preparation. Take the time to read the labels, see what clothing is necessary, and then take the time to go get it. All right? There's no reason any of that can't be done at this time of year. Like right now. You can go grab a label, read what you need, go to Sentry or someplace in Chatham and pick the stuff up. Alrighty? And if you get it around, you tend to use it more. Alrighty? Mixing and loading. Your highest exposure is during mixing and loading. You're handling the product at the most concentrated form, and again, you're handling it. So again, mixing and loading is where you, again, your exposure is the highest there. Application. Alrighty? Application can be different for everybody in here. Alrighty, so just think about this for a minute. What is the most common type of application equipment we've got out there today? Field sprayer, right? And just trailer type, pulled by a tractor, right? That's the most common type. Alright, keep that one in mind. We'll say for argument's sake that the guy does not have a cab. So it's an open station tractor because not everybody's got a cab. Okay, can you kind of picture this thing? Alrighty. What do you think of that? And we'll also assume that it is a good spraying day. It is not really windy, it is just a good spraying day. Okay? What do you think of that guy's exposure as he's going down through the field? Low, medium, or high? High? Okay. Alright, let's go to the guy next door. He's got a 3-point hitch sprayer. Alrighty, what happened to his exposure? Still an open station tractor, wind speed still the same.
He increased it. So
Yeah.
closer to the tractor.
All right, and that's what I'm getting at. Where are you in relationship to where the product's being applied? All righty, that's what I'm trying to get you to think about. All righty. So, a couple other things. Backpack spraying, like my buddy Caesar there. All right, what's his exposure? Real high, yeah. Okay. So that different applications. How many of you guys using treated seed? All right. You go and drop the planter, the drill in the ground. You go 50 feet. What's the first thing you do?
Dig a few cents.
dig some up, and you're checking depth, right?
No gloves on.
No gloves on, okay? Are you exposed at that point? Sure you are, okay? Not as bad as Caesar, okay. All right, again, what I need you to think about in application is what particular things are you doing at home and how are you being exposed? Because every one of us can be different. Ernie, you got a whole different deal with the
Well,
sod and stuff.
I got a tractor with a cap,
Yeah,
but I was in Mitchell's Bay one time and the tractor that was out there didn't have a cap. I
yeah,
was sitting on there and the hose had my stuff, but the hose blew and more chemical went down my neck.
yeah,
It's soaked me.
yeah,
So I'm in the middle of nowhere with my pickup. I don't wanna go sit in my pickup because
Right.
it could end. So I learned, I took everything off behind the roof. Thinking I'm rubbing on the grass. You know what I mean? But I had nothing to put on to
Right.
get home, so I always bring an extra
right,
if I'm away from, to at least get me home to have a shower without contaminating everything else.
right, right,
That's just the story. And
But
it
it's-
happened so fast, I didn't even, you
yeah.
know, and you can't control that, you
No.
know.
And it just happens.
Yeah, I look kind
Right.
of freaky. Well, you wouldn't want to see me. If you ever seen a snake, I would be around the weeds.
But stuff happens.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Stuff happens. And that's what I need you to think about there, all right? So machinery repair, that falls right into that. I mean, you had a broken line, right? That type of thing. So you can get into that after application. All right, there's a pile of stuff gets on sprayers. You ever watched anybody put 28 on in the spring? How long does it take that thing to turn black? All right, it's just, yeah, it's not long. Pile of stuff. Remember incorporating dual with a cultivator? Park a cultivator on a piece of grain, or a piece of grass? What happened? I never knew dual was a post-emerge chemical. But I'll tell you, it'll take down grass in a heck of a hurry. All right, so watch where you wash the things up. Just make sure you not contaminate any water. Flip that over. Couple things here. So back to the stuff. And again, you guys are familiar with all this. Okay, so we'll start into this. First thing being the gloves. Alrighty, I've given you a pair of gloves. What are these things made out of? You recall? Neoprene or nitrile. Okay, nitrile is usually the ones that we're using. Alrighty. Why do you put the cuff on the top?
So it doesn't run down your
So it doesn't run up your arms when you're reaching up, okay? So those are the nitrile gloves. You guys are all familiar with those things. Over the years, I've kind of gathered up another bunch of these things. You guys familiar with these things? Seen these? Okay? Just a surgical style glove, right? These are the blue ones. What's the issue with the blue ones? Yeah, they rip. I mean, they don't last long. All right, they're pretty tender. Still nitrile, still same material as these. So guys are kind of complaining about that, so I went looking. And I found these. These are still nitrile gloves, all right? These ones here are called 2 mil gloves. These are 4 or 5 mil gloves. And if you feel them, you can feel the difference in them, okay? Guys are saying, okay, that's better, but not good enough. So I was down in Essex one time, and guys got talking about Gorilla gloves. What the heck are Gorilla gloves? So anyways, they proceeded to tell me, and I found these. These are 8 mil gloves, still nitrile. These things are tough. If you've got to do oil changes, anything like that, I know I've got a pair of these in the shops. First thing I'm heading for these things. All right. So again, those are all available to you. I'll send these around, and what I want you to do is just feel the difference in them, and you can feel it. I mean, that's the 8, that's the 5, and then those are the blues. Okay. So
Where do you find the eggs?
The 8s, TSC, have found them there. Safety Supply, Chatham, All Canadian, places like that.
Home Hardware and ordered them.
Well, okay. So they're around, Steve. You just gotta go to look. All right. What I suggest to you is, I think those are XLs. If you've got a big hand, go to a double X, because they are tight. They are tight. Okay. But those all work for you as well. They're ready. The other one there, and it's shown in the picture here, but the barrier laminates, those are out there. You really got to go looking for these things. Steve, you work up in the valley?
Used to.
Used to. Were these? Did you ever see these up in there?
No.
I've run into it the odd time where a guy will talk about these. But barrier laminates. If you look at these on a chart versus these, and it's an American thing, but these will actually give you a higher level of protection than these. All righty? But with these, I put that thing on. Just feel it. Okay?
Yeah.
All right? So it feels different. So if I got that wet, can I hold on to it? Okay, it'd be slippery. That would be the problem there. So on that there, they show you this. So that inside of that. How do you think that's gonna go? Okay? And really, honestly, it's not that bad. Just pull the thing on, stick your hand in there, and there you go. Okay? And what I like about it now is it tightens this thing up, and now I can pick stuff out.
Right.
Okay? Because what's it like trying to change a set of caps, tips, and screens with these things on? Okay? Really good intention for the first one. The second one, if you get the 10, you've done well. I was gonna say the third one. All righty, so again, if you get back down to something like those ones that I sent you around, they really work well, okay? And again, available to you and they're cheap, okay? Body cover, over on page 127. A regular pair of cloth coveralls, the ones you buy at Mark's Warehouse or that type of thing, give you a 75% reduction in chemical exposure. So just pulling on a regular pair of cloth coveralls does that for you. The other option is the chemical resistant ones. These are available to you. The brands are listed there in the book for you if you're interested in those. But those are all available as well. Flip that over, top of the next page, rubber boots. All right, what do you guys usually wear when you spray? What do you wear on your feet when you spray? Work shoes. I mean, that's just the way it is, right? What's the problem with a work shoe? It absorbs, okay, and it stays within the boot, right? All righty, when you think of rubber boots, what's the first pair that you think of?
Black and orange.
Yeah, I'm a livestock guy, and it's the old black with the orange soles. I mean, that's the one to think of. All righty, what are the odds of you sitting down, taking off an 8-inch work shoe, putting on a rubber boot, loading the sprayer, sitting back down, taking the rubber boot back off, putting the work shoe back on? What are the chances?
None.
Slim to none? All right, does it make sense? Is it something you think you should be doing?
Yes.
All righty. I've done this long enough, I can't stand in front of you guys and talk about this stuff without actually doing it. So, when I'm at home and I load the sprayer, the first thing I've got is a lawn chair. That is the key, is the lawn chair. I've got a pair of coveralls there, I've got a pair of rubber boots there. All right. And the gloves and everything are there as well. I come up, I bottom load. Everything is bottom loaded for me. So I just snap the water, get out of the tractor, just snap the hose on, and I start the pump. You gotta have half a tank of water anyways, right? You go over, you sit down, pull off the boots, throw on the coveralls, put on the rubber boots. By the time you get back, that tank is about half loaded. It's time that you had to put in anyways. All righty? How long do you think that takes me? Sit down, change, put the clothes on, get ready to go. What do you think? I'm not near as old as you guys think I am. I'm down to about 45 seconds with it. It really doesn't take very long. You just sit down. The chair is the key. The lawn chair is the key. All right? But it works. And the other, like, I'm trying to accomplish two different things. You guys know that we shouldn't get stuff into the leather boots, right? And I'm just like you, I wear a pair of leather steel-toed boots. Shouldn't get it into there. And the other thing I'm trying very hard not to do is take the chemical up into the cab of the tractor, because I use that thing the rest of the year. All righty? Everything stays there, away you go. All right? And it doesn't take long. When you're done loading, you unhook everything. Your sprayer's got to mix anyways. So if it sits there for an extra minute or two mixing, so what? All right? So it doesn't take long to do those types of things if you'd get everything there and take the time to do it. All right? Headgear. What's standard headgear for a farmer? Seed corn hats. Exactly. What's the problem with those?
Sure.
Absorb. Again, it's the headband, it's all that kind of thing. What is that, a Thompson's hat?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good enough. All righty. We're never gonna get guys away from wearing seed corn hats. It's just the way we are built. All righty. What I suggest to you is this: if you think for any reason you get chemical on the hat, fire the hat. Okay, go get a new one. How many stacks of hats do you have in the house? Okay, if I bring one or two more home, I'm gonna be in trouble. You just got stacks of hats, or, all right? Thompson's will give you another hat, all right? It's gonna cost you another 10 grand. They will give you a hat. All righty? So again, just watch what you're doing there, the goggles, okay? What did they say the absorption rate of the eyes was this morning?
100%.
100%, all right? Does it make sense to wear a pair of goggles when you mess around with this stuff? All right, get the solid ones. Don't get the ones with the little holes in them. They're no good to you. These things are ventilated through little black things on the sides. Again, 100% in the eyes. So take care of those. Okay, face shields, the big full face shields. You guys are familiar with those, and the respirators. Half mass chemical cartridge respirator. You guys are all familiar with these, right? All righty, two parts to the thing. Little white fuzzy thing, what's it called? Pre-filter. Okay, what's it take out? What's it there for?
Dust.
Dust, dirt, small particles, all that kind of stuff, right? Okay, so that's pre-filter. All right, cartridge. What is in here first? Activated charcoal. Okay, supposed, yeah, activated charcoal is the proper term. What does it remove? Yeah, the organic vapor, all this, basically the smells, right? Takes out the organic vapors, all that kind of thing. You're looking for the ones with the black tape on them. Okay? How many guys have used these for hydrants? Okay? Those are green tapes. Okay? What's the indicator to change these things?
Smell.
Smell or taste is in season. Okay? What's a cycle? When should you start, or when do you start with these things to do? Yeah, you should start with a new one every season. In season smell and taste. Okay? Alrighty? Now, again, just to kind of show you that I actually do some of this stuff at home. Alrighty? Those were brand new pre-filters when I started. What I was doing was transferring treated lead from a V-box through an auger into my grain drill, and I was just guiding the tube at the top of the drill, just like those guys were in the picture. That's what I was doing. Alrighty? That's what they looked like one fall after about 450 bushel a week, about 200 acres. It is unbelievable how much stuff you are sucking up. Okay? So again, that is dividend XL, is what I was using. Steve, same thing? Like,
Absolutely.
alrighty. On the glove end of it, and again, my drill is one of those ones where you had to push the grain out at the end. Alright? It's not in your head, you know what color it is now. Alright? Those are the gloves. And it's not hard to tell, and I know this is a little far away from you, but it's not hard to tell I'm right-handed when you get looking. Okay? Because again, these things are just pink. Okay? Again, Kath, my wife, used to work at Rutherford, at the elevator in Rutherford. There were guys come in the spring and the fall, they would be pink from the tips of their fingers to their elbows. Alrighty? And all they were doing was just spreading out grain, all that kind of stuff. When they come in the elevator, where's the first place they went?
Counter.
What's that?
Right to the counter.
Right to the counter, but they usually had to stop at the coffee machine or the donut box first.
Oh,
Okay? So we got that all done, and then, but you're right, Ernie, they came to the counter. And Cass said, there they were, they wanted to do something, and now she's in it. Okay? So again, that's something you kind of gotta just keep in the back of your mind. The other thing that came from Kath, I work alone. So, and I grow IP beans and that type of thing. When I change varieties, that drill has to be swept out clean. I work alone, I need a sweeper. Okay, Catherine is my sweeper. I don't know whether you know Catherine or not, but she is all of about 5 foot, not too much. She is not very big. And again, with that drill, when she swept, literally, she was over and her head was right in the drill. Now, she is stirring up the dust and breathing it in at the same time. Then I changed drills, and it's peaked now. So the box is even higher. Now, literally, she is just about inside the thing. Well, I got scolded over that pretty good one day, because she said, you're trying to kill me. I said, not really. But anyways, and it never occurred to me that that's what was going on. So now we've got her a long handle broom. And that's all we had to do, a long handle broom, and she's happy. Okay, she won't drive the tractor. So, but it's little things that you don't think about that you're being exposed to. So those are the things I need you to think about regarding all the application and that type of stuff. Alrighty, negative fit check on the mask. How do I do a negative fit check? Yeah, okay, but you get it on, get it tight, hands over and breathe in, okay? And you're the guy I'm gonna pick on, just the shape,
Yeah, I should have been.
yeah, exactly, okay? So clean shaven, you're gonna get a better fit than you do with even a day stroke, okay? Alrighty? Okay. It's on the next page. Excuse me. Tractor cab cartridges, top of 130. Steve, I think we're back to where you were asking this morning. With that, how many guys in here are spraying with cab on the tractor? For the most part, okay. Charcoal or paper, as far as filters? Charcoal, okay. Charcoal, paper, okay. What's the deal with paper? Okay, first up, what are we trying to remove with this? Vapors, okay? Is it safe to assume they would be coming into the cab? Okay, what's the issue with paper then? Yeah, they come right through it, plus the fact paper's absorbent. Okay, so it's actually moving into the paper. Alrighty, the thought process would be that even though you're doing something else 3 months later with that tractor, that paper can still be releasing that chemical, so you're still in the product, okay? So that's the idea behind that. Charcoal, for the guys that are running charcoals, are they solid cores or are they refillables? Refillable, okay?
So,
You're solid, okay? That's what I'm starting to run into down in this area. I'm getting into a lot of guys that are going with solid core. And the reason is with the refillables, you take that framework down, right, Steve? And you take the plug out, dump it out, put new charcoal in. The thought process is the guys are not getting a good tight pack when they go to refill. And I've had different guys tell me 2 or 3 days later, if you pull that back down, you can shake it and that stuff is actually settled a bit behind it, okay? So that's the thought behind the solid cores. I'm running solids at home myself. Ernie, on yours, you got 1 or 2?
one.
One?
Cat on that
Oh, yes. All
one.
right.
It's like one of me in there.
There we go. Alrighty, myself, like I've got a 6420 that I screw up, and there's 2 behind the cab, and you change 2. And for me, my spray season is reasonably short, like I'm just a corn, soybean, wheat guy, season is reasonably short. Those things can't come, those filters come in a plastic bag. You can literally put them back in the bag, seal the things up, and it's just like dropping this thing in a Glad bag. Alright, it stops the air from moving through. I'm getting 2 or 3 seasons out of my solid cores.
Mhm.
What are you working on?
2.
Yeah, okay. But seal them up when you're done, right?
Yep.
For you guys with tomatoes, that's a little trickier because, again, you're spraying all the time. Alright? So again, solid core versus the refillables. Alright? Ballpark. That little one of yours, what's it worth?
$60. Like a Sherry does all that, all I do is.
Oh, that's not your end of the
No,
operation?
I don't know anything.
You
So
just
I-
write the check.
Yeah, would it be 67?
Well, mine, the 2 for the back end of mine,
Yeah.
$400.
Oh.
It's about 180 a
Don't
side.
tell me that.
Don't tell you you didn't want to know. Alright.
You'll be in the bag for 10 years. No.
When I changed mine, they come with the ones inside for the recirculation too. So you actually get 4 filters in this thing when you're done. Alright. But again, just something for you to consider there. Okay? Good enough. Do that. Wash and spray close. Okay? Quite honestly, is this your end of the operation at home? Is it? Okay, good. Talking to the right guys then. What you want to keep in mind here is there is a transfer, can be a transfer of chemical within that washing machine. And the thing that really hit me a few years ago, I had a young man in, he had very small school-age children. These were junior kindergarten, senior kindergarten guys. They were going to school, everything was good up until the 1st of May. what happened was mom started washing dad's spray clothes with the little guy's school clothes, and it was just knocking these little guys down. They'd go to school, they'd be sick, they took him out of school, they'd put him in a hospital, they'd clean him up, they'd send him back to school, and the whole cycle would happen again. And it happened about 3 times before they finally figured out that's what was going on. And the poor guy, like, young man, he was just about in tears when he told me that, because he thought he had really done a good service to these kids. Okay, so again, it's just something to keep in mind. So pre-soak them, wash them separately from other clothes, hot water, lots of water, heavy duty detergent. Alrighty, comment was made a couple weeks ago about the new washing machines are very low volume. The water volume is very low. So that's where we're going with wash them through twice. Hang them outside in the sunlight and then clean the machine up when you're done.
Hey Al, you
Yes,
know
sir.
what I do? I go to that clothing store like Salvation Army, and I'll get 4 sets of shirts or something for 5 for the pants,
Yeah,
and wear them and then just chuck them. Like just
When you-
throw them
when you're
up.
done, you're gone.
Then I don't have to contaminate no
Right.
washing machine.
Right.
It's a little investment, really.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's what I do,
Yeah.
just an idea.
and it works. And it works, right? Alrighty, again, the idea you're addressing the problem.
Yeah.
That's, so. Alrighty, good enough. Clothing, where are you guys gonna go for to find a safety supply store around here? What's the first one you think of?
Fire and safety.
Century.
Century. or-
Yeah, okay. Everybody know where Century is? Alrighty, it's out on, Richmond Street, right? Across from Water Fuel, right there. Okay, the other one, you know where Access is? Sandy Street.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody know where that is? Everybody know where the Montreal House is? Just down the street from the Montreal House. Okay? So that is Access. So there's 2 of them in Chatham and a place where you pick this stuff up. All right? Good enough. With that, we're good with clothing. We're gonna carry on. We're going to transportation here. So over on 141. Okay? The most asked question about transportation is, can I send my wife, son, or daughter to pick up product without having to have a card? And the answer is yes. Yeah, yeah.
2s and 3s?
2s and 3s. You're responsible, you as the certified grower state are responsible for that product on the way home. Okay? So, but yeah, you can still send. All right. Okay, flip that over. Where are we at here? Okay, over on 143.
See, I don't think the co-op would release if I sent my kids up.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Would they know them?
Pardon?
Would they know the?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Is
still
there an
don't think
age
they'd release.
on the kids?
I'm sorry?
Is there an age? It's gotta be 21, doesn't it, or not?
Well, they've got to be of driving age, so they've got to be at least 16. And we can certify down to 16, so I think we're okay there. Okay.
Yeah, because they're pretty picky,
Is that right?
you know, because if you're going in and walking in to pick it up, you're usually signing a slip saying that you're purchasing,
Right,
and they can't purchase because they don't
Yeah.
have a number.
yeah,
And that's where, you know, they get caught up in that just to make sure. So I have to pre-do or, you know, you're jumping off the tractor to go get your own.
right, right. All right. I've had the odd place where they won't put it in a, so you're not to transport in any vehicle, the words, like a van, SUV, that type of thing.
Can't be an open compartment.
You can't transport in the passenger compartment of the vehicle. And I have had a few guys that have been turned down at outlets because they come in with like a little SUV. Remember them little Suzuki sidetrack things?
Yeah.
There were guys that were using those as runaround vehicles, put a big tongue on the front of the thing and just tow it. But then they used to go get chemical with it. And I've had different guys turned down there. No, we can't load it in there, all passenger compartment. Doesn't work, okay? So run into that a few times. You ready? So, on 143, you see the 2 black hammers there? All right. These are parental regulations you guys have got to deal with for all the chemical that you handle. This is everything, okay? So the product is to be secured in the vehicle, all righty? And that's something as simple as, when you put it in the back of the truck, slide it up to the front, put a ratchet strap around it, and tie the stuff in. Okay, it's that simple. All right. How much of that happens? Probably not as much as should, okay? But again, just keep in mind, it is to be secured in the vehicle. The second one, skip over the box, go to the bottom of the page. Separation from other commodities. So it's gotta be kept away from food and drink, household furnishings, toiletry, clothes, and bedding. That one is not too tough to live with. All right? So that one we can get along with pretty well. Okay? Box in the middle. If the product is left unattended. All right? So, I don't know, you pick the stuff up at the co-op and on the way out of town, you stop at Tim Hortons on the way by. If you're gonna walk in, that product is now considered unattended. That product is to be in a box, locked, and it is to have the sign on the box. Okay? So if it's unattended, it is to be signed.
Just in one spot, Bob?
I think so, are we, Susan? Yeah, I think we're okay there. Alrighty? Now, there's been a little bit of transfer of that idea to water wagons or nurse vehicles, okay? And even though guys are sitting on the headlands of their own farms, Ernie, you come to mind right off the bat. If you're sitting on the head, all right, sitting there on the headland, you've got your water wagon chemical. That chemical should be in a box locked with the sign on it if it's left unattended. Okay, it is now looked at as an unsupervised, or can be looked at as an unsupervised vehicle. Okay. Out where I'm at, I have got 5 farmer-owned self-propelled machines that work around me, and those guys come in with water supply that you wouldn't believe. Look, it's semis, the tanks, the cages are up on there. It is really neat to see what those guys are doing. Okay, everything's bottom fill, away they go. Okay, again, the signs are right on those wagons. Okay, so that's something you want to keep in mind as well. Okay, flip that over. That, again, that little section we did pertains to all the chemicals you guys handle. The next chemical section on 144, just the top of 144, this is transportation of dangerous goods. Okay, some of the products you guys handle are considered dangerous goods. Some. Okay, any idea what any herbicides would be right off the bat? Herbicides. Any ideas? You guys familiar with partner? For corn? Partner is a dangerous good, or considered a dangerous good. And the reason is that it's flammable. Okay? With that in mind is Buctril M. Buctril M is just partner in MCPA. And it is. It's considered a dangerous good. All right? So just a couple there for you to keep in the back of your mind. With that, okay, on the dangerous goods thing. Okay, look on the left-hand margin. You see the 3 placards down the page, and I've got to apologize, they can't be in color in this case. I can show it to you in color right there. Alrighty? So the top one, the flammable one, with the number 3 in the bottom, will be red. Okay? The one underneath, poison, it is white. And the third one down with the number 8 in the bottom is half and half. That's a corrosive. Alrighty, so those are the 3 different placards that you guys need to be aware of. Alrighty. When you go in to buy product, okay, technically the vendor should be telling you that the product is a dangerous good. When you start to pick the product up, you won't be long figuring it out because the placards are right on the box. Alright, that is actually Legon right there. You guys familiar with Legon? But that is Legon, and that is sitting on the floor in Rutherford at SWAG. Okay, so the placards are right on the package. All right. Now, has anybody here got a dangerous goods card, transportation card? Okay. All right. For you guys, what's involved? Like you got, I know you go through a training program, and if you're going to transport it, what do you need?
Well, you gotta have, see, our placards are different, because we've got a number situation on there.
Okay.
So we have to tick off, the like, fuel. Like,
Yeah.
it could be that,
Yeah.
1203 or whatever, like, you know,
And that's the number right in the middle of the placard, right?
right in the middle. So
Exactly.
you look in your book, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
We got a handbook, right?
Right.
And then you and then some you can't. So you put your number on there, and then when the ministry drives by or whatever, they see that number, they know, or the fire department, or
Right.
they know exactly what chemical is in that,
Is in that
on
container.
that truck.
Yeah.
But you have a UN number, Ernie, and don't you have to have 4 placards on that vehicle that's transporting it by law?
Well, I don't, like, when I worked at Pride, that's where I had it, right?
Okay,
And we had on each side and on the back.
yeah,
That's all we had, like on the van door, like right
Yeah.
on the back or on each side.
okay,
So,
okay. The point I'm getting at is there's a whole bunch of regulations that you need to be aware of if you're gonna haul a product that's a dangerous good. My point with all this is this: you guys as farmers have exemptions to those particular guidelines or regulations under the following circumstances. All right, so I'm just on page 145 there, if you're trying to follow with me. Again, the black hammer showing up there. If you're gonna transport a product between the retail store and the farmer place of use, this is a dangerous good, something like a leg-on or a hardener, okay? If you're going from the retail store to the farmer place of use, as long as that distance is less than 100K, the containers hold 450 liters or less, and the total weight is less than 3,000 kilograms, as a farmer, you're exempt from the act. Okay? Number 2, we've now got the stuff on the farm. Okay, so it's on the farm, we are moving from the farm to the place of use. So, for you guys, something like that, Mark, say you had it at home, you're moving to the attic, something like that. At that point, as long as the distance is less than 100K, the total weight is less than 1,500 kilograms, and there are farm plates on the truck, you're exempt from the act. All right? The idea behind the farm plates is to alert first responder stuff. Okay? And then the third one. These are your spray tanks. Okay, so tanks used to apply product. Again, if that sprayer is going down the road with a product in solution in the tank that is considered a dangerous good, you are to have the placards on all 4 sides. Peter, okay? Back to what you were saying about 4 sides. Alrighty? And again, you were talking about UAN numbers. UN numbers, sorry, UN.
There's a book on that, that's what Ernie was
Yeah.
referring to, then you can look up what that particular
Exactly.
product is. You
Okay.
put it on the numbers.
As long as that tank stays less than 6,000 liters, you just need the placard, you don't need the numbers. Okay? You good there? You're dealing with 2 different things. All right? If you're running down the road with Roundup, are you concerned about placards?
No.
No, because it's not a dangerous good. If you're running down the road with leg on, are we concerned about placards?
Yes.
Yes, we are. Okay? Just make sure you know whether that product is a dangerous good or not. All right. We good on transportation? If so, we'll keep rolling. Go to storage here on page 149. Okay? The easiest way to do storage, section headings on 149, flip over to 150. All right? Now, do you remember the classes we talked about this morning? The 1 through 11? Okay? Look up at the top of that chart. I'm reading the chart about halfway down the page. Just that bar across the middle. It's got the class numbers. Class 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 have got to follow the following criteria for storage. No contact with food and drink. Not impair health or safety. Done in a clean, orderly manner. Warning signs posted on storage doors. Emergency telephone numbers posted. Those are 4, 5, 6, 7s, and 8s. This is your Roundup. Okay, these are your glyphosates right there. All right. Class 3s. This is the bulk, again, of what you guys will use. All of the above, plus that area's got to be ventilated to the outside. Limited access or locked. No floor drains. Safety equipment available. Okay. Class 2s, which again, you may handle a few Class 2s. All of the above, plus area used primarily for pesticides. All right. Just to give you an idea, there are some guys, and I've been running into a bit of this, are starting to build dedicated pesticide storage on the farm. You used to see it in the orchards and vineyards, that type of thing. You're starting to see it on more of the bigger cash crop operations, okay? Again, you're looking for a 2-inch lip down here, or at least a 2, but chances are that's about 6 or 8 down there, which is good. And then you just go stud wall construction from there. There is probably gonna be a hump right there, or a drop-in of some description, alrighty? Same thing here with the man door, alrighty? And again, that's kind of where guys are going. I was actually looking at that myself just the other day. I think I'm gonna go to a dedicated storage, okay? How many of you guys are still using freezers on farm storage? Okay? Work like a charm. You're doing everything you're supposed to do. The thing is, just be sure that the freezer is maintained. All right? So that's one there. What do you think? Issues?
Yeah, there's food in there, haven't you?
Well,
Looks like the seals, looks like the seals are, or whatever.
oh, God.
Dirty,
Okay, yeah, it's just, the thing is in tough shape.
yeah,
The
rough.
thing is in tough shape. All right? They took the racks out of the thing, and this is what it looked like underneath. Again, what do you think?
Good thing they're not metal jars.
Chuck that one and get another.
Well-
It'd be all leaking.
You can look at this two different ways. This is either a glass half full or glass half empty kind of thing, okay? Glass half empty says the thing is a mess, right? The glass half full guy is looking at it, okay, at least it contained everything, and that's what it was after. But what are the chances of picking up that bag in the corner and the bottom staying in that thing? Okay? So again, just something for you to kind of keep in mind there. Flip that page over. Couple things, replacing damaged containers. All right? You gotta replace a damaged container. If you got 10 liter of Roundup, you kick the thing over, it cracks and breaks, what's the first container you're looking for? Another Roundup container, exactly, okay? If you can't find one, you stay with a pesticide container, all right? Make sure the thing's clean. You stay away, and I'm just about halfway down the page there, never store product in any container that was previously used to hold food or beverage, all right? So we're staying away from the 2 liter pop bottles and all that kind of stuff, okay? And then, once we get that new container, we're relabeling the thing, all right? What we need on there is the trade name or brand name of the product going in, concentration of the active ingredient, and then that registration number, that 5-digit registration number. Okay? So you guys kind of got a handle on that? Let's go back to the freezer. Looking at it again, do you see anything that causes you issue?
I don't think that box at the front, the pail at the front you ever had, right at the very front.
Very front?
Large pail, 5-gallon pail.
Oh, right here.
It is. I don't think that ever was meant for any kind of a pesticide, was it?
It's hard to say, depending on what industry you're in, what the product, how it's packaged.
Frozen cherries or something.
The one that throws me off is this one right here. Okay, first off, it's on its side. But secondly, I know we use that container for our kids for juice when they were little. It's a Tupperware container, is all it is. And if you had a 5-year-old, the last time he saw that thing, mom was pouring a dark fluid out of it like grape juice, and he gets out to the shop and sees that thing in the freezer there, what's his first, you know?
Yeah.
He's gonna try to get in. That's just the way it works. Okay? These ones here, these are a guy's relabeled containers. What's in them?
I don't know.
And that's exactly the point. Exactly the point. This here is apparently a product called Bonsai. Alrighty? Bonsai is a growth regulator in the greenhouse business. Okay? This one over here, what's the issue? At least we know what it is.
Pop.
The only thing is with brush killer, everybody's version of brush killer can be different. Because sometimes it's what's left over,
Yeah.
and we just dump everything together and that becomes brush killer. Okay? So it's a pretty generic term, and the fact that it's in a Coke bottle really doesn't, you know, not doing you much good. Just so you know, Roundup in a beer bottle is not a good idea. I've run into that before, it has got drainage. Okay? Roundup in a Coke bottle that you can turn the top back on, or a water bottle, something like that. Anything that's dark on the outside so you can't see, run into that before too, and it's gotta drain, okay? Roundup in a 1 liter motor oil container. It's gonna cost you money. So if you dump that into a motor, apparently it will seize it immediately. Immediately. All right? So just kind of stuff you want to stay away from there. All right? This is the guy's storage area. What do you think?
He's obviously had leakage already by the looks
Yeah.
of the floor.
Yeah, he's got issues. The other thing that came up the other day, and I looked at that picture a lot of times, but a guy picked out the wood racking. He thought that would be absorbent. If anything spilled on it, it would stay right within it. He picked that up right off the bat. All righty? So that's our storage thing there. There's a little storage checklist on 155 if you want to have a look through that sometime. Okay? With that, keep rolling. We're not in too bad a shape here. Over on 157, disposal. As you guys drive the countryside, are you seeing much of this anymore? You're not seeing many containers. I mean, the recycling program has really worked well at it, okay? The other thing that's come along for us is the bulk. And there's a lot of guys using bulk now. It works like a charm, okay? So that's all there. Over on the next page, they talk about, over on 159, triple rinsing containers. You guys are familiar with all that. Rinse them 3 times, make sure they're cleaned out. If there's one thing I get out of the vendors when I do vendor courses, they say to be sure to tell you guys to be sure the containers are clean, all right? Because if they go back in and they've still got product in them, there's not much they can do with them, okay? How many times do you rinse a Roundup jug before it quits foaming?
It'll foam after 3 times.
Yeah, and if it's foaming, there's still stuff in it. And I've had different guys tell me, well, you can fix that, you just put a little halt in there. Yeah, you stop the foaming, but if we halt.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it's an anti-foaming,
Oh,
okay? So you just squirt some of it in there. The container quits foaming, but did you clean it out, okay? So that's, just keep those things in mind. Get them cleaned out as best you can, all righty? Over on, okay, surplus spray mix. Oh, I know what I want to touch on, 162. Just slide down 162. Do you see empty pesticide and seed bag collection? All right, did anybody recycle or send their pesticide or their seed bags back last year? Brian, yeah? And really nothing to it?
Nothing to it. I saw Highland Seeds in the co-op that sells the cow.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Brian, as a dealer, were you taking them back or were you directing guys to places like the co-op and stuff?
No, I just came across it by accident.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Basically the same deal as the chemical, or as the containers. Okay, just take them back to the retailer. I did it myself last year. I just got one of them big bags and you just start chucking bags and you get rid of them.
Yeah, I took 5 of those big bags back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Soybean, corn.
yeah. Alrighty, so that's all there for you. Just want to make you aware that is there. Surplus spray mix. Okay, you got a part tank to go. You've got 15 acres in the field. 15 acres left to go. You just maybe kind of blew it when you loaded the sprayer a little bit. You had about 20 gallon left over. What are you doing with that 20 gallon?
10 to 1 more with water and spread it over the same crop you're just spraying.
Take her back, right back out on there, okay? Yeah, and that is the ideal way to get rid of that. It's going back to where it's registered to be on, okay? Good enough. I'll show you this thing. I get into this at home all the time. I got a Hardy sprayer. See the measuring tube on the side of Hardy sprayers? Okay? Yeah, you're laughing, you know what I'm talking about.
Can't see it.
Well, the fact you can see it,
I can-
the thing is, but mine is right twice. It's right when it's empty and it's right when it's full. Any other time, it isn't even close. So what I did, and I went out and I found one of these things, and this is an inline water meter. So it measures the water going up into the tank. Again, on bottom fill. So it goes on, you just punch the button, and when you start pumping water through it, it's measuring the water, okay? that tube on the side of my Hardy sprayer is out as much as 75 gallon at times. Okay? So again, this thing, and it works just great. I wouldn't be without it now. It took, the $700 was hard to part with, but as soon as you get it and see what it's doing, you wish you'd have had it sooner.
Is there a check valve in there too?
Actually, no, there's no check valve. This one here's got an impeller in it, right?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it measures physically. There's another one called a banjo. The banjo is the black and yellow one. They measure with sensors, 4 sensors around the side, and it's measured electrostatically, but you've got to have a certain flow of water going through, and with the banjo, you have to have 2 feet of straight pipe on each side. Okay? Because your rigid hoses that go onto your, they've got a little, there's a stiffener in there, and if it swirls, the water will actually start to swirl in there and it won't work. So you need 2 feet on each side of just straight tube. Alrighty? So those things are available to you. You got that one at Bender's. Okay? So that one is a Raven. Okay? What else do we need here? Surplus spray mix, yep, we've done that. Surplus pesticide. Alrighty? Are you guys aware of the drop-off days? They come along about once every 3 years. We had one in 13. The collection site was the Tupperville Co-op. You guys familiar with those at all? They're done by Clean Farms. They show up about every 3 years. Okay? Steve?
Clean Harbors.
Clean Harbors.
I
Yeah.
think it's 6 times a
Yeah.
year that they have it open and you take anything.
Yeah. As a resident of Lambton, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
but
So-
they won't turn away anybody, I don't think.
Is that right? Okay. It's either that or you phone a friend in Lambton.
That's right.
Yeah. But Clean Harbors, again, 1 day a month, 6 months of the year. It's usually the last Saturday, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you can take just about anything in there and get rid of it.
Every 3 years, you say?
No, well, the one through Clean Farms is every 3 years. This one we're talking about, and are you familiar with Clean Harbors up in Troy? It's the toxic waste disposal site, and as a benefit of hosting them in Lambton, we get to actually use it for free.
Well, no, we, county pays for it.
County pays for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
25,000 a day is what it costs.
Is that what it costs? Okay. All right.
We're trying to negotiate that away.
Okay.
We haven't been successful yet.
Not yet.
No,
Okay.
but come early, because it's lined up and you could be in a couple hour wait.
I've heard that before. Apparently the one in April is the worst.
Absolutely, because it's everything for the winter time,
Yeah.
like people have been hoarding.
Yeah. Okay, so that is an option up there as well. Okay? Good enough. All righty, spills over on 167, I think. Yep, looking like 167. Okay, spills. All right, section headings on 167. Flip that over. Black hammer, top of 168, so we need to pay attention to this. You've got 3 responsibilities when it comes to a spill, all right? It is your responsibility to report a spill. Number 2, the owner or person in control must clean up the spill. And then it's your responsibility to compensate any damaged party in regard to the spill. Okay? So your 3 responsibilities when it comes to a spill. Box at the bottom of the page. Definition of a spill is right there. It defines the discharge of pollutant into the natural environment from or out of a structure, vehicle, or other container that is abnormal in quality or quantity. That is considered a spill. Okay? And again, they give you a little leeway there as to what the definition is. All right? Over on the bottom of 169. All right? Liability. Remember this morning I asked you to think about what your environmental liability riders were on your insurances? So with that in mind, what kind of dollars are you guys carrying? 2? Okay. Most guys are in that $1 million to $2 million range. Alrighty, I've run into some 5s, I've run into the odd 10. Okay? Now, my next question for you is this. Do you have single-use coverage or aggregate use coverage? You know what I mean?
No,
Okay?
no, I don't know what you mean.
Okay, single-use coverage is whereby you're covered for a $2 million liability claim, but you only get one of those per year. Okay? And then you're done. Or do you have aggregate use coverage whereby you are covered in case you have multiple incidents throughout the year? And then the next question is, are you covered at $2 million per incident? Or do you have a $2 million cap? If you had 3 incidents throughout the year, if you hit the $2 million cap, are you on your own after that? Okay? Those are the things, if you've got questions for your insurance guys, sit down and talk to him about that. Okay? The other question I got for you is this. If you bring home that 400-liter tote of dual, all right? You go to lift the thing out of the back of the pickup or off the wagon or whatever you brought it home in, and you got the forklift and you're trying to get underneath and you miss, and you spear the thing, okay? Now we've got 100 liters spilling out on the ground. Before you can get it stopped or tipped over or whatever you gotta do, who's responsible and who's gonna pay for the cleanup of that spill? Does your liability insurance kick in? Sitting in the middle of your yard or in a field, will your liability kick in? If you don't damage anybody else, your liability insurance does not kick in. So the question is, who pays to clean up that spill? All right? And again, that's something you might want to ask your insurance guy. I know I've got that coverage myself mainly because I do this. But like I've got a cap, it's a limit, it's only so many dollars. But if I have a spill in the yard, don't damage anybody else, I get so many dollars worth of cleanup. Because in something like that, you could have to have somebody like a Marcus come in, or somebody like that to look after that, and it's gonna get a little pricey. Okay? So those are the things you just ask your insurance guy. Okay? With that, over on the next page, minor spills. Okay, if you've got a minor spill, you kick a Roundup container over on the floor of the shop or something like that, a liter spills out, what are you gonna do?
Put absorbent on
Yeah, exactly. Sweep it up, it's gone, right? Minor spill cleanup, pretty straightforward. Major spill, all righty? I'll run this one by you. We had one not too far from us. 1,200 gallon Hardy sprayer. It was a Commander, so it was one of the old ones where the tank set up high. He had 100-foot booms which set up over top of that, and he had the thing sitting on 60-inch space. Okay? Loaded the thing up, went to spray, it was a leg on it. I know he was spraying, I'm pretty sure he was spraying soybean aphid. Did 40 acres or whatever it was, took about 400 gallon out of the tank, so we got 800 gallon left in this tank. Pulled out the laneway and pulled just a little bit short. Dropped the one side of the sprayer down, okay? Liquid sloshed to the bottom, went back to the high side, and when it come back the second time, took the sprayer, dumped it right in the ditch. Okay? We've got leg on, we're on a fairly major highway in Lambton, and we've got no placards on the sprayer, all righty? As luck would have it, the hole in the top of those things, how big around are they? 2 feet across, 18 inch? It's a big hole. All right, as luck would have it, this guy dropped this thing right on a catch basin. Okay? Into the catch basin, underneath the highway, now we're in a municipal tile drain. Underneath the highway, into a municipal tile drain on the other side of the road. If that was you, what do you do?
Case you got stolen.
All right, what would you do? In this case, this guy started calling. He called the outlet where he got the product. They come out and started helping him. There were a lot of folks showed up in a heck of a hurry. He went across the road into that ditch, in the bottom of that ditch where that municipal tile was. This guy was fortunate, he had his own backhoe. And they went over and they started digging holes in that drain. As soon as they found a dry spot, they dug a sump hole. So just a deep hole. And then they went back over to the other side of the road and they started flushing clean water through that municipal drain. I think they said they put 4,000 gallons through that thing. And they just ran it through the tile drain into this sump hole. They got hold of a liquid vacuum manure tanker. And they had a guy sitting there and he was just sucking the the product out of this hole. They had wheat ground open, they were just out spreading it on a wheat field. All right, sound reasonable? Is that the farmer way to fix things? They called MOE come out, and when they got there, the only thing they wouldn't have let them do was suck out of there with the vacuum tanker. They would have had to have called waste disposal, somebody like Marcus. Okay? So again, that's the only thing. Other than that, no charges laid, guy was good. All right? It was just one of those silly things that happened. All righty? So again, be ready. Kind of think your way through some of this stuff, because it hits the fan in a hurry. Okay? So those are major spills. Okay, we're good there. And pre-fire over on 75. Pesticide fires. We're talking about a pre-fire plan down the bottom of the page. So just the numbers there. So inform the local fire department to store product. Store them all in one area. Flip that page over. Number 3. Up-to-date inventory of the pesticide you're storing. Keep emergency phone numbers handy. Keep the fire extinguisher around. Consider taking time to carefully map a floor plan. That would be more for that permanent storage that I showed you. You're not going to map the floor plan with a freezer. But it doesn't hurt to know or be able to tell the fire department where that freezer is. Okay? Plan for dikes or drainage. Purchase and keep drain covers. Teach your farm workers what to do if a fire occurs, get everybody out of there. Black hammer, top of 177. Spill, fire, or theft involving product or pesticides occurs, you must call the Spills Action Center. Okay? Spills, fires, or theft. All right. Back to the freezers and that just for a second, guys. All righty. Anybody here in volunteer fire? Not today. Was? Okay. All righty, Ernie, you can either probably back up what I'm saying or give me some ideas anyways, okay? What I've run into over the years is watch where you put the freezer, okay? Because you got a freezer that's got a liter of Roundup and 2 kilos of Sencor or something like that. You put the thing in the back corner of your brand new 80 by 200 implement shed. You put the 4-wheel drive in front of it, the air seeder and the combine. You got about $20 worth of chemical in the corner. If you have a fire in that shed, the fire department won't put water on it because they can't control the runoff from the chemical, okay? The sign needs to be on the freezer. The sign needs to be on the outside of the building that the freezer is in, all righty? Chances are, fire department won't put water on it because they've got to control that runoff, which is virtually impossible, okay? I think what I'm saying is put the freezer in a building you can afford to lose. All righty, that's why I'm looking at just a standalone separate little garden shed or something like that. All righty, with that, let's take a break for. All right, everybody have a chance for a stretch? Okay. Good enough, guys. We're going to carry on. We're going to go back into. Just want to do drift here. I just want to touch on drift briefly for you. Okay? So again, you guys are familiar with drift. There's 2 types. You guys are familiar with that. All right. So there's again the spray drift, so the physical movement of the product away from the boom, and the vapor drift, which is the vandal type products. Okay? So we're familiar with that. I want to go over to the bottom of 181, and I want to touch on this simply for the reason that with these new products, this extend and the enlist programs, by the sounds of it, Monsanto or Dow is actually going to put you guys through almost a separate little training course on this thing. It is going to come right down to droplet size, wind speed, clean out on the sprayers, all that kind of stuff, and it looks like that's where we could be headed on this stuff. And at the end of the day, when you're done, you may sign a sheet that says, yes, I have been fully trained on this product, and you're going to be kind of on your own, okay? That's the way it looks like it's going. So I just want to kind of preempt that just a little tiny bit, and I'm going to play with some tip charts here, okay? So I think I threw one on every table. You might have to share, okay, because I don't have one for everybody. It's right there in front of you. That one right there. Okay, so it's looking like this. Okay, so the first thing, I want to just touch in the book first, down at the bottom of, 181. Remember this morning when you got into that one label question and they asked you about classification of the nozzle size? Okay, just go into that spray nozzle classification chart, slide down, and there's your medium right there. Okay? Now we're gonna start playing with a whole bunch of different ones than that, but I just want you to know where this is coming from and what that meant this morning. Okay? Now, on this chart, just get this thing out so you can see it, have a look at it. Down the very left-hand side, these are the numbers you guys are familiar with. Okay? So these are actually, the colors actually refer to the tips themselves. All right? And you guys have seen all this before. Like what would you, gallonage and acreage, what would you say a 10-gallon tip is for? Like for me, a 10-gallon tip is a yellow tip is a 10-gallon tip at 6 miles an hour, about 50 pounds pressure. Okay, that's what yellow means to me. So we're talking about the actual color of the tip on that first set of color scheme down the left-hand side. So it's the actual color of the tip. All right. The next column in is the pressure. Okay, so there's your pressure on your gauge on your sprayer. All right. The next bunch of columns, if you look at the very top, they have different tips up there. Okay? So if you stay with me at the very top, on the very left-hand side, that first one was just an XR flat fan tip, which looks very similar to that. You guys are all familiar with those, right? They work their way across. There's a turbo T-jet there. They're the ones with the little bells on the bottom. Okay, that is considered a turbo T-jet tip. I know it's hard for you guys to see back there. Okay, but there's a little bell down there. That is a turbo T-jet. That is a drift reducing tip. It's an air inclusion tip, not an air induction. Okay? The next one's, again, just a couple over. They've actually got twin jet tips. So there's dual orifice in these things. Okay, so you're spraying forwards and backwards at the same time with the same tip. That's a twin jet. And then as you move to the right, you get into the air inductions, which are these. Okay? So that's what you're going to do there. Alrighty? So just a little familiarity on the tips. The next line down, you see GPM at the top? This is gallons per minute that tip is putting out at the speed and pressure. Okay, miles per hour is across the top. All right, I want you to give me 6 miles an hour. I want to go to 50 pounds pressure with an O2 yellow tip. Okay? How many gallon the acre am I putting on?
60.
I'm going 6 miles an hour. My tip color is yellow. I'm at 50 pounds. How many gallon the acre am I putting on?
10.9?
10.9. Okay? So about 11 gallon the acre. Okay. If I'm using a flat fan tip, which is the tip on the far left-hand side, what droplet size am I making?
What size?
Flat fan tip, which is on the far left-hand side,
And you go.
what droplet size am I making?
6? Oh, wait. Oh, big.
What color am I dealing with?
Red.
Okay? Right here.
Orange,
Yeah, orange or fine. Is everybody with me there?
Yep, fine.
See where I'm going, guys?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, you guys good? Okay, we good, Ernie?
Yeah.
Okay, so what, the droplet size is fine, right? Okay, so if I take that flat fan out and throw in an air induction, which is on the far right-hand side, where'd my droplet size go?
Alter.
Yeah, it's a black now, right?
Yeah, black.
Which is ultra coarse. Everybody see what I'm doing here? All I did was change tips. Didn't change the pressure, didn't change the speed, I changed the tips. Look down on the right-hand, the bottom right-hand corner of the chart. Okay? And they give you a bit of a comparison between the droplet sizes. So look at what were we at, a fine and orange? They're trying to give you an idea of what that looks like versus the ultra coarse. Okay? And it's looking like on this Extend and this Enlist product, you're going to be looking at the extra coarse to the ultra coarse droplet size. So chances are you guys could be buying some new tips if you're going to be running them. Okay? And that's kind of how you read those charts. Okay? All righty? So again, just trying to kind of make you familiar with that. Okay? Good enough. Anything else you want to look up while you're there? If you go down to the, see the red ones, the old fours? Those are basically 20-gallon tips. 04s. So that is on the far left-hand side. It is the red tip. So go to the far left, red. Okay, go to 50 pounds again. And go across. What droplet size am I going to be making with an air induction at 50 pounds in the red? Extra course, or ultra course, one or the other. Now for some of you guys on the tomatoes, you probably want to be fine and extra fine during some applications, right? Or fungicide or something like that where you're trying to blow into the canopy. Okay, so it all depends on what you're trying to do. Alrighty. Just set those aside. I just wanted you to get a feel for looking at those charts. I think you're going to start to have to pay more attention to them. Over on 189, let me show you this first, this is kind of interesting. All right. This one here, this is not in the book. Don't worry about trying to find it there. This is a drift damage claim. This was a field of Roundup Ready soybeans beside a field of those little tiny martini onions. The number there that you see is 92,000. What you can't see, or is harder to see, there was another 20,000 in interest and 40,000 in legal fees. This was a $150,000 touch before this was over. Okay? The guy was spraying Roundup Ready beans beside a field of these little martini onions. Not only did he hit him once, he hit him twice. Okay? This was up in the bog at Grand Bend, so really not that far away from you. Okay? I've been up in there since. I don't know whether you've heard about this or not, but anyways, I've been up in there since. I've talked to different local guys because I know some of those guys. Apparently insurance didn't pay.
Oh.
Did not.
Did not. No. They said negligence on the part of the operator. It's bad enough you hit him once, but you hit him twice. Okay? So those are the kind of things you kind of got to keep in mind. So this stuff is happening. This is a tomato field. What you need to understand about tomatoes is it is a staggered planting. Okay, so we plant, what, 10 or 15 acres today and another 10 or 15 tomorrow or 2 days from now. So staggered planting, you gotta keep that in mind. Again, a little hard to see, but this was the first planting here. A neighbor in an adjoining field sprayed Roundup. This is the second planting. This is what happened to the first one. Okay, and took it out. Okay, so those are the kind of things that you could be looking at. You need to be just aware of these types of things. Okay? Droplet sizing, we've kind of gone through that with the chart that I gave you. Just wanted to have a quick look at that. Okay. How many guys are running air inductions? Okay, versus how many guys are still running flat fans? Alrighty, that is a brief or very quick visual comparison. That is a set of flat fans there. This was done at as close as they could possibly be at the same time of night. They just flipped the nozzle bodies is all they did, I think. That is the drifting away from a flat fan versus drifting away from an air induction. The damage a couple days later, and you can see what was going on. All right. Things that we got to be concerned about, of course, is weather, everything to do with the weather. All right, so wind speed is the first one. I got a couple of these now. Didn't know that, did you?
No.
Got this the other day. Paul, for photos, going to lend me this for the rest of the season.
Well, that was
Okay. This one is really neat because it does humidity, it does wind direction, it does wind chill, it does all sorts of neat stuff. So that is a wind meter that's available to you. Okay, and again, Profota's going to put that together for me. You guys are familiar with this one. I've shown you this one before. Okay. Now, with these things, It is absolutely amazing, the difference in wind speed from 20 inch, which is where your boom should be, versus your shoulders. Unbelievable. Okay? I'm seeing a lot of custom guys, when they come into a field now, it's this and a compass. Okay, guys were talking about apps the other day on phones that will do it as well. Okay, so that is all available to you there. Slide down 189. Okay, there's a chart there on 189. What is the ideal speed, wind speed to be spraying?
2 to 6 miles an hour?
Yeah, 2 to 6 mile an hour. It's not the dead calm that some guys think. Okay, so 2 to 6 mile an hour. Okay, wind direction over the top of the next page. I've had insurance guys through that said the best thing you guys could do is just put a flag on the sprayer. Okay, just put a little flag on the sprayer. If you're a Red Wings fan, put your Red Wings flag right there. If you're a Leafs fan, that's just too bad. But get a flag right there so you can tell which way the wind is going. Alrighty, temperature and relative humidity. Where would you rather spray? High humidity, low humidity?
Low humidity,
Low?
because it doesn't evaporate so much. Yes, no?
You got the right theory, you got the wrong. Yeah, it's the right theory, but we need to be in high humidity because the air is already full of water. It doesn't evaporate. Yep, you got it right. You're just, okay? Alright, so that's what we're gonna do there. High humidity, low temperature, that is your best time. Surface inversions, these things are just darn tricky to figure out. Okay? Again, you get cold air trapped near the ground and stuff will move on you. And a guy made a comment the other day, and I never thought of it. He said, if you want to see a surface inversion, watch the stack at the ethanol plant. He said, it will go up and literally go up and turn right and go right flat. He said, that is an inversion. It's just way up off the ground, but those things move to the ground. Same deal. Okay? Alrighty, we got this thing. Yeah. Cleaning application equipment. Just want to touch on this one very briefly. Alright, not in the book, don't worry about finding it. It's in the book, but it's background, but don't worry about finding it. Okay? This was done in a plot where they were testing the Extend product. Okay? Monsanto's, right? Alright. The guy went and sprayed the Extend on some bound to raised soybeans. Then he went back and he just threw water in the tank, swished it around, and went and sprayed some regular soybeans. And this is what he did, and I know it's hard to see, but he probably shortened them things up a big foot, if not a foot and a half, okay? And you can see them just crinkled in there. Second rinse, he just cleaned that out, went back, got another second rinse of water, and again, he dropped those things about 6 to 8 inches. It was the third rinse before he finally got that stuff out of there, whereby he wasn't doing any damage. All right? So this is what we're gonna be up against with these Banville or could be, it's tank cleanup. All right? This one here, what you're looking at is a dirt road, okay? Do you see this spot right here? I drove by this thing one day and there was a hole in the road. It was about that big around, it was about 4 inches deep, 4 to 6 inches deep. Pardon me?
County road.
No, it wasn't a county road. Okay? I was just going to another farm I worked to, is what I was doing. And I drove by this, I saw this thing, and my first thought was, the township boys have got a tile drain to fix on the side of the road. That was my first thought. I come back about a week later, and this is what I saw. Okay? So what was the hole from?
There's a sprayer out there, isn't it?
Pretty much pulled the plug on a sprayer right there. All right? When you turn and look down the ditch, there's what it looked like.
It's a lot of water.
What's that? I'm
That
sorry.
was a lot of water.
There was a lot of stuff in there.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It was right at the time of year, it could have either been Roundup or 28%. Looking at it, to me, it's 28. But, and that was not the end of it, I mean, it was further than that. Okay, so I'm not sure we're into a spill or a sprayer cleanup, but either way, it wasn't good. That's the kind of stuff that we sure like to get away from. Good. All righty. Good enough. This one here. Quick look at this. Not in your books, read it over. Okay, which one of those would you do first? Third one?
Yeah, rinse the tank on the inside.
Okay. Yeah, and that would be, if you got a flush and rinse system on the sprayer, that'd be the one you do right in the field, right? So that's the first one. Where do you go next? Sorry? Bottom one? Any other bids? We good at the bottom?
That circulate clean water, yeah.
Would you? Actually, it is the bottom. Okay? And the reason being, if you think about this, okay? If you think about this, if you've got a sprayer with a wet boom, which the bulk of sprayers are right now, there's a cap on there. If you're using a dry flowable product, what's in here? Just, yeah, goo. Okay? Got to pull in caps, you got to blow that out and get that out of there. That, and filter bodies. You pull the filter body off the sprayer after dry flowable product, what's in the bottom? So you get that out of there. Where would you go next?
Number one.
Yeah. Okay, cleaning agent, something like a tank clean, finish, something like that. By that time you get back to the clean water, you should be ready to go. All ready? Good enough. We good there? Make sense, or? All right. Good enough. Let's go to calibration, guys. I'm gonna run you through a calibration exercise here. So get out your calculators. I need you to do a little thinking here. Okay, this is part of the day you guys have all been waiting for. Okay? This is calibration. We are not doing the actual calculations yet for applying. We are calibrating at this point. You're gonna see how much the sprayer is putting on. All right? So, page 195, calibration, what is it? Third paragraph down. Calibration, test measurement of the application rate of your equipment under typical operating conditions includes a test of each nozzle. Okay? Alrighty, flip that over. What application, or what equipment application rate is required? Slide down the page to the third paragraph. 4 liquid spray equipment, or pesticides. Everybody with me there? 4 liquid pesticides. Sprayer application rate is the amount of spray applied per unit of area. Some labels tell you exactly what the sprayer application rate should be. For example, apply 5 liters of pesticide to 600 liters of water per hectare. How much are you putting on? 600 or 605? What do you think? I'm sorry?
595.
Okay. Still got that one. What do you think? So now we have 3 bids. 595, 600, or 605?
595.
595? Okay. 605?
No, 605, I'm wrong. If you
Okay.
add it, 600 liters of water.
Okay. It's actually 600. Because it's 5 liters of product in 600 liters of water per hectare, correct? Think about it this way. If you've got a 500 gallon tank, can you put 500 gallon of water in and then put the chemical in? It has to be part of the mix, correct? 605, or 600, all right? I have a lot of guys just struggle trying to sort that through, but that's where it's gotta be. All right, factors that affect, factors that affect equipment application rate over on 197. So the first one, size of openings. Slide down the page till you see 4 liquid spray equipment. Spray application rate depends on the size of the nozzle opening. What is the nozzle opening? What does the words nozzle opening mean to you?
Droplet size.
It's close, tip size. Tip size, okay? If tip size makes more sense, write it in. Guys that struggle with nozzle opening. Number 2, travel speed. Just how fast you're going through the field. The top of the next page, pressure. 3 things that affect sprayer output. There they are. Okay? with that, we are jumping over to page 205, boom sprayer setup and calibration, right at the top of 205. Okay, we gotta do a couple things, and again, this is an old-fashioned handheld method, all righty? If you guys, how many guys are running rate controllers? Okay, will your rate controller tell you the output of each tip? No, and that's what we're doing right here. You gotta do it by hand, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is measure the time. Okay, we put 2 stakes in the field, 50 meters apart, drive our little test track, take an average of 3 times, and that gives us the amount of time it takes to travel 50 meters. Now this seems a little redundant. How many speed displays have you got in your tractor? I've got 3. Rate controller, GPS, and the tractor itself. Okay? And they're all within 1/10 of a kilometer, 1/10 of a mile an hour of each other. So, once you put your pen in that page, just drop your pen in that page and go to page 361. Okay, 361. What you should find when you get there is a travel speed chart. Everybody with me there? All right, there are 3 distances there. There's 50, 75, and 100 meter tracks. Okay? I'm gonna work with a 50 meter track. If it takes me 18 seconds to travel 50 meters, how fast am I going?
6.2.
Sorry?
6.2 miles per hour.
Miles per hour? Okay, but we're Canadian.
10 kilometers.
10 kilometers per hour. Okay, that's as simple as that chart gets, right there. Alrighty? And it goes from what, 18 mile an hour? If you flip the page over, it goes right down to about a mile and a half. So everything is there for you, right there.
I'm missing something, I haven't got.
Okay.
I know we gotta measure out 50 meters.
Yep.
This many seconds.
There's my time, 18 seconds. And I move to the right, there's 10 kilometers per hour and 6.2 miles per hour.
That's 50 meters.
That's 50 meter test track.
That's a standard thing you do
Yeah. Okay. Good enough. Flip back to where we were on page 205. And when you get there, I want you to write down 18 seconds. Okay, we're gonna measure the average nozzle rate now. So we've got the sprayer parked, we've got the booms unfolded, we've got the pressure set about where we want it. We're gonna aim for about a 10 gallon rate, 10 gallon to acre rate. I take a jug measured in milliliters, okay? And I stick it underneath the tip on one side of that boom. How long do I shove it underneath there for? 18 seconds. I pull it out, I read how much water I caught, I write it down, I dump it out, and I move on to the next tip. What am I doing?
You're just getting the average of your tips.
Yep, I'm checking each tip for flow,
Yep.
right? And then when I'm done, how many tips on a 90-foot boom? A whole bunch. It's 54. 54 at 20-inch space, okay? So if I have 54 tips, I'm doing this 54 times. Okay, I would really recommend rubber boots because this is going to get messy. Okay? Again, I'm checking the flow on each tip. When I'm done, I get 54 numbers. I add them up, divide by 54. What is that giving me?
for.
Average across the boom. Alrighty? As you're going through the field, if you were going that way at 8 mile an hour, can you tell whether a tip is only running 75% flow? No. And that's why we're doing this. Okay? And for the guys that are really electronically, really want to get into this, apparently TJET is now making a sensor for each individual tip, and it will come up on a display in the cab. Okay? So that, I don't know what it costs, but I know it's there. Okay? So, measure the average nozzle rate. So if I do that, 18 seconds, I stick my jug underneath there for 18 seconds, and I catch water. I want about a 10-gallon rate. How much water would I catch? That is 500 mils. A top can is about 350. How much water do you think I'd catch? Give me a number. Shot in the dark. Give me a number.
300.
300? Good enough. Write down 300. Okay, flip the page over. Top of the next page. Measure the spacing between the nozzles and meters. How far apart are the tips on your boom? 20 inch. What's that in metric?
Half a meter.
Half a meter. Yeah, it's 0.5 meters. Yep, I'm right at the top of 206. Okay? So write in 0.5 meters. Alrighty? Get out your calculators, and out of those numbers that I gave you, stick them into that formula. Okay, this is going to give us our sprayer application rate in liters per hectare. That's what we're trying to figure out. We need to know the average nozzle rate. What was that? 300. So 300. We're going to divide that by the nozzle spacing in meters. What was that?
0.5.
Yep, divide by 0.5. We got to multiply that by 0.2. That's a constant in the formula just to make it work. So times 0.2. What have you got?
120.
120 liters per hectare. Okay? How many of you guys spray in liters per hectare? It's about what I thought. Okay.
0.
See the box about halfway down the page? That gives us our conversions over to, and I'm going to go to the third one down, which is US gallons per acre, because that's where a lot of guys are. Okay, so what do we got to multiply that 120 by? By 0.11. How many gallons a acre are we putting on?
13.2.
13.2 US gallons per acre. Alrighty, you just calibrated the sprayer. It's that simple. Okay, there's nothing tough about this. Oh, yeah. All right, give me another number. That 13.2, we were aiming for 10, right? Give me another number. Should it be higher or lower than the 300? Lower. 250. Okay, let's do her again. So, right here, Ron, our average nozzle rate, 250. Okay? We're going to divide that by the nozzle spacing in meters. That was 0.5 meters, right? Divide that by 0.5. We have to multiply that by 0.2, constant in the formula, times 0.2. What do we got? 100 liters per hectare. Okay? What do we got to multiply that by to get to US gallon?
0.11.
Times 0.11. How many gallons?
11.
11 gallon a acre. Not bad. Okay? Everybody see what we're doing? You guys just calibrate sprayers. Okay? And if you go down and you talk to the guys that are selling, you go down and talk to Scott, you go down and talk to Paul, the photos are down to Kent. This is how they do it. Okay? And again, with it, guys, it's no wonder this is confusing, because you buy your product in a metric unit, right? You apply it with a US gallon to an imperial acre. So we're using 3 different methods. So it gets a little confusing, but if you sort through that, that is how you calibrate a spray. All righty? Good enough. I was at 13, no, my last one was 11 gallon the acre, right? So if I want to go from 11 gallon to 20 gallon the acre, no, let's tweak that a little bit. If I want to go from 11 to 10, how can I do that?
Drive a little faster, one. I don't think it's a big enough amount to change the tips.
And I would agree. So it's either speed or pressure, right? And that would drop it a gallon without too much problem. If I'm going from 11 to 25, what am I doing?
You could drive slower
Or
or bigger tips.
bigger tips.
Bigger tips. I mean, with that bigger range, we're doubling, right?
More pressure.
Yeah, we've got to change that. Big changes, change tip. All right, good enough. Keep the calculators warm. All righty, we are going over to applying the right amount on 215. Okay? All right, just bear with me for a minute, because this was mentioned this morning. I want to touch this again real quick. Section headings on 215. Flip over to 216, top of the page. pH. pH of the carrier water. Okay, this was mentioned this morning, that's why I want to touch it. pH scale, you guys are all familiar with this. 7 is considered neutral, anything above 7 is considered alkaline, anything below 7 is considered acidic. You're talking about your carrier water here, okay? Most water in Ontario is in the 7.6, 7.7, 7.8 range, in that range. You guys know what the pH of your carrier water is at home? See,
Around 6.5.
6.5? Okay, and that, is that well?
No, that's city.
Is it?
Yep,
Really, that low?
yep.
Because I pull out of Rutherford, the bulk station of Rutherford, I'm at 7.8, 7.9.
You guys live better than we do.
Well, we're just a little further down the line, it's all that. Okay? My well water is 8.4. Okay? All right, kind of got that in our minds? All right? Hopefully this works, and it did. That's a soybean field. A little tough to see. There's a little too much light in here. What do you think happened? What would you call that? If you were looking at that and trying to figure out what the damage was, what would you say it was?
Actually looked like drift, but it's not drift.
No,
because
it's not a drift.
it's your
See, these things here are pretty good shape. We got a problem out here. You can just see.
Where the water was laying?
Looks like that too.
That looks like water damage in Don Township. It looks like 6 days after a 3-inch rain. That's exactly what it looks like. And it's not even close. Okay? What it is, the problem in there was spider mite. That was the problem in the field. The guy was gonna spray Legon, because that's what you use for spider mite. Okay? Optimum pH of carrier water for Legon or dimethoate is between 5 and 7. At that 5 to 7 pH range, the half-life of the chemical is 12 hours in the tank. So, after 12 hours, he is losing half the effectiveness of the chemical in that tank with pH of this, okay? The pH of his water was between 8.5 and 9.2. Half-life in the tank is 48 minutes. What happened was, he loaded the tank, then went and had supper. Sprayed the thing after supper, about 2 and 2.5 hours later. At that point, he's running less than half of the effectiveness of that chemical in that tank. This is all due to pH of the carrier water. I think you mentioned that this morning, or somebody?
Yeah, I was saying in soil too,
Yeah.
like for different bugs, right?
Okay,
That's as bad as putting pounds in a tank if it's too hot, right?
yeah. Okay, so pH of the carrier water. Optimum pH for Roundup is between 3.5 and 5. Okay? A lot of the insecticides, you want to pay attention to this. Okay? Good enough.
So a lot of the insecticides, you want to pay attention to that?
Yes, yeah, definitely, because, yeah, pH on the insecticides really seems to make a difference. Okay? Alrighty. Measure pH, just a little electronic meter, all this. Okay? With that, let's get into the calculations. I'm going to page 238. Okay? On 238, you've got what's called a tear and go sheet. Okay, and they mean that literally, tear the thing right out of the book. Yep, go ahead. Okay, tear it right out of the book. And then I'm gonna back you up to page 231. Okay, and we're gonna start into these examples here. The one on 231 is in metric. Don't worry about whether it's metric or whether it's acres, just do the math. Okay, just do the math. So on 231, top of the page, they say we're gonna decide to spray the cornfield to control the weeds. Pesticide rates 2 liters per hectare. Sprayer holds 1,200 liters of spray mix. Sprayer applies 200 liters of spray mix per hectare. Field is 200 meters wide, 500 meters long. Everybody with me on that? Okay, take your tear and go sheet, put it on the page right beside it. And that page, that tear and go sheet will tell you how to put all the numbers in the correct order to do the calculations. Alrighty? So for number 1, first thing we gotta do is how many hectares in the field. Alright, what are we doing? We're looking at the length of the field, which is what? 500 meters? We're gonna multiply that by the width of the field, which is 200 meters. That's gonna give us a whole bunch of square meters. So we've got to divide that by 10,000, and where are we at?
10.
10 hectares, okay? There's your answer for number 1. As long as we got that one right, we're on our way. How many liters of pesticide are we gonna need to spray the whole field?
2,000 liters.
Okay? What's the first thing we need to know?
How I did that, I did it at home.
All right? How many hectares we got to spray? Just figured it out. How many?
10.
10. Okay, what's the chemical rate from the top of the page?
2 liters.
2 liters. Okay, 10 times 2. How many liters of chemical we need for that field? 1.
Did I say 2,000?
Yep, you just got a couple zeros. You got a little enthusiastic there, that's all. All right, number 3. How many hectares are we gonna spray the full tank? What do we need to know?
Tank size
Tank size?
over the spray application rate.
Right. Those are given to us at the top of the page, so what's the tank size? 1,200 liters. What's the application rate?
200.
200 liters per hectare. How much is the tank doing?
6 hectares.
6 hectares. Okay?
Where am I supposed to be holding this? 'Cause I haven't-
There you go.
You can read that and look over here.
All right, number 4. How many liters of pesticide are we gonna add to the full tank?
12 liters?
Yeah. How'd you get this, Steve?
2 by 6.
Yeah, 6 hectares to do. Yep, we had 6 hectares to do, just figured that out. Chemical rate from the top is 2 liters per hectare, should be 12 liters. Alrighty? Number 5, after you spray the full tank, how many hectares you got left to spray? 4? Had 10, done 6, got 4. Alright? Number 6, how many liters of pesticide are we gonna add to the part tank? 8. Got 4 hectares to do, right? Putting on 2 liters per hectare,
That's 8. 4, 8.
should be 8. Number 7, how many liters of spray mix are gonna need for the part tank?
800.
800. Area left to spray was 4 hectares, putting on 200 liters per hectare, should be 800. Everybody good? All right, flip that page over. There's another example on 232 in metric, and there's one in acres on 233. Do whichever one you feel comfortable with. Take a minute, run through it, see how you get along. Okay? Okay. Okay, all right. Now, acres? So.
Oh.
You gotta be careful. That's when people start to get mixed up. So here's a practice question.
Yep.
Also, yeah. That could help you.
Okay, that's 80,000 square meters. 10,000 square meters. Divide it by- Actually, it should be 8.
Okay, so let's just slow down.
Should be 8.
Here's your area, right?
Okay. Yeah, we got a
So
decimal.
what's your width?
I think we meant to.
200 meters. Yeah, by 400
Common,
meters.
yeah, you just leave that decimal and we can go.
No, length.
There you go.
Times width.
84. There you go. Okay, so that's the 8.
Now you fill in the
All
rest
right,
of
now
it.
becomes hectares. What did you change?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, chemical rate is 83 mils per area spray. 8.
What's the hectares? So,
Okay.
so just keep filling in the blanks like this. I like to talk to myself because now I got how many hectares in the spray full time. Doesn't matter what it is. So we have divided layers, right? Meter squared. Yeah, you cross 200 by 400, you know, so you cross meter squared. So you just convert it to the meter squared per hectare. This conversion back to meter squared per hectare. So this divided by 9 equals 30. All right, so I'm trying to second it. Okay. No, you said this. Okay. Pesticide, we need to spray the whole field. Well, my rate is 83 milliliters per hectare.
Yeah, 10.2. No, that's more.
Okay, but you see, it's milliliters, 664 milliliters.
You should be able to do that.
Milliliters, I gotta change this. Well,
If you're trying to measure something
it's
out.
asking me milliliters, so, okay.
Yeah. Well, that's right.
Yeah. Okay, so. Yep, okay.
Yeah, no, that's right. You kind of have to physically do, right? That's right.
It's 900.
Okay, so now this one here. Okay, so how many hectares can you spray with one full tank? So if one full tank goes 900 liters, and you're spraying out 150 liters per hectare. Yeah. So let's go down the sheet. So what's the tank size? 150.
Oh, the tank size.
900 liters.
Okay, I got it.
Liters. Yeah. And what's the sprayer
You're at
applicated?
150 liters.
Good. Okay, guys, everybody got at least one done?
Yeah.
All right.
So what's that work up to?
Okay, 232, we're just gonna go to the top of the page, we'll start running through these,
Yeah,
and just be sure you're going in the right direction here. So, you decide to spray the soybean field to control the insects, pesticide rate's 83 mils per hectare, sprayer holds 900 liters of spray mix, sprayer applies 150 liters of spray mix per hectare, field is 200 meters wide, 400 meters long. First thing they ask you, how big is your field? 8. How'd you get there? Yeah, yeah, the 200 by the 400 gives us whatever it is, and then we come back, okay? So yeah, there we are, 400 by 200 divided by 10,000, should be 8 hectares. Everybody good there? All right, number 2, how many milliliters of pesticide you gonna need to spray the whole field?
664.
How'd you get there, Ernie?
I times the hectares by the milliliters, like the,
Yep.
I mean, yeah, hectares times milliliters.
Yep, so we had 8 hectares to do, we just figured that out, putting on 83 mils per hectare, should be 664. Okay, everybody good there? All righty, number 3, how many hectares you gonna spray the full tank? 6. Again, how'd you get there?
Sprayer size divided by rate.
Right, so 900 liter sprayer tank size, 150 liters per hectare is the rate, 6 hectares. All right? How many milliliters of chemical are we gonna put in the part, or the full tank, excuse me? 498, okay, 6 hectares to do, putting on 83 mils per hectare, should be 498. All righty, after you spray the full tank, how many hectares left to spray? 2, we had 8, we've done 6, we've got 2. Alrighty, how many milliliters of pesticide are we gonna add to the part tank? 166, we've got 2 hectares to do, putting on 83 mils per hectare, should be 166. And how many liters of chemical, or spray mix you're gonna need to finish up?
300.
300. 2 hectares, 150 liters per hectare. 300 acres. Okay, everybody good there? All righty, how many guys are gonna do acres in the exam? Okay, we gotta run through the acre example, so over on 233. Need to spray a field to control the weeds, pesticide rate is 2 liters per hectare, sprayer holds 300 gallon. Sprayer applies 15 gallon spray mix per acre, field is 1210 long, 900 wide. How big is your field?
25.
25 acres. Okay, 1210 long, 900 wide, divided by 43,560. Should come up with 25 acres. Okay? Is anybody still using the old sugar beet method? Run into this a couple times.
Length times the width times 23.
Yep,
Move the decimal point over 6 places.
and it works.
I know.
Okay? Length times width times 23, count back. Did you try it? You just said you did. There's no way that works.
I didn't want to try it.
Alrighty? Good enough. Number 2, how many liters of pesticide are you gonna need to spray the whole field? Sorry?
50?
50? Any other bids? 20? First thing we gotta do is change that liter per hectare rate to a liter per acre rate. I think that's where we've skipped a step in here, right?
Okay.
Okay, so we take the 2 liters per hectare, we gotta multiply it by 0.4, which is given to us at the top of the page.
Okay.
Do the math,
Yeah.
comes out at 0.8 liters per acre. So we've changed the rate. If you are gonna do this in the exam, I would strongly suggest you do that conversion and then write it right up in the top corner, just like that, because you need it 3 times coming down the page. Okay, so do it once, do it right, and then away you go. Then we take our 25 acres, we multiply that by our new chemical rate, which is 0.8, and you should come up with 20. Okay? Number 3, how many acres are you gonna spray the full tank? Okay, 300 gallon tank, putting on 15 gallon the acre, should be 20 acres. Number 4, how many liters of pesticide are we gonna add to that full tank? 16, we got 20 acres to do, putting on 0.8 liters per acre. Should be 16 liters. After you spray the full tank, how many acres left to spray? 5. Had 25, done 20, should have 5 left. Okay. Liters of chemical in the part tank? 4. 5 acres to do, 0.8 liters to the acre. Should be 4. And how many gallons of spray mix are you gonna need for the part tank? 75. 5 acres to do, 15 gallon acre. Okay? One thing I'm gonna suggest to you guys as you're doing them, put the suffixes behind the number. If it's a liter, put liters. If it's a hectare, put hectares. Okay, that can screw you up later on. Okay, so please do that, make your life easier. All right. Are we good on calculations?
No.
No? That's not good, because they're gonna come back and haunt you here in about 5 minutes. And we'll get your work through, please, don't worry about it. Okay? Records over on 239. All right, I asked you this morning what you guys are using for records. Okay, I think through the course of the day, hopefully I had you thinking about using something. Okay, so whether it's a coil-bound book, whether it's a phone, whatever it is.
Use a calendar.
Use the calendar, just write on there, okay? Guys using day books, all that kind of stuff, okay? And you can go right through, there's some electronic systems that will just, they are really good. Okay, as far as information, what you need on 240 there. So you should have the date and time of the application. You should have the location, you should have the pest and the host, pesticide trade and NPCP Act number, the pesticide rate, mode of action group, equipment used, applicator's name, top of 241, weather conditions, location of sensitive areas and results of the application. Alrighty. Have a read through the box at the bottom of the page. Okay. Do you guys remember what you had for lunch? No. Okay. Get stuff written down. Okay. Flip that over. All that information we just ran through real quick, there it is on a template for you on page 242. If you want, tear that thing out of the book, 3-ring hole it, put it in the binder, and away you go. All right. Remember this morning we talked about written instructions for the assistant when he was going down the road on a class 2 product. Flip that page over, there's what one of those look like. great deal of detail there. Alrighty. Again, with records, just get something that makes sense to you and works. Pesticides in food, over on 247. Just one or two things I want to touch here. Top of 248, do you see the words maximum residue limit in bold print? Alrighty. What that is the greatest amount of pesticide residue that may be present in or on food when it is sold for consumption. Alright, that's an MRL, or maximum residue limit. Slide down the page to the very bottom, come back up a paragraph, and come into the next paragraph, 4 lines. And it starts, for example, at the end of the line. The 2009-2010 annual report of the National Chemical Residue Monitoring Program by the Canadian Food Inspection Agency showed that 99.06 to 100% of all food commodities tested were within Canadian MRLs. What's that telling?
You're doing a good job.
Yeah, for the most part, you're doing a pretty good job. Alrighty. With that, there's only one other thing I want to catch in here, and it's over on page 254. Alright, and it's the traceability end of things. Okay, now, Chad, you're running tomatoes, right? Okay, before you get a schedule to deliver tomatoes, do you have to provide records? And how often?
Once a month, I think.
Okay, is that for Dresden or
We-
Wheatley? Okay. Any more in season when you're harvesting?
No.
No?
How often? I didn't hear that.
He has to provide, what is it, fertilizer, chemical?
Fertilizer, chemical, foliars, anything.
Anything that's added to that crop, fertilizer, foliar, chemical, anything like
What
that?
dates when you put it on too?
Yeah, once a month while in the growing season. I know the guys in Dresden have got to do it once a week during delivery. Okay? So just so you know there. IP soybeans. I'm growing IPs. I've got to provide all the chemical records on that farm before I can deliver soybeans. Okay? If I have a Roundup Ready crop prior to that, a Roundup Ready soybeans, I actually have to work the field before I can grow IPs in that farm the next year. So second year soybeans has to be worked.
What are IPs?
IPs are identity preserved. Identity preserved. They are food grade soybeans. Okay? That's what they are. Alrighty? So that's that end of things. And over on page 259, professionalism at the end, and for the most part, you guys are doing that anyways. Alrighty? With that, that's all I got for you. I hope through the course of the day I got you guys thinking about at least one thing.